If you want to be a leader that makes things happen, you have to have courage. Years ago, when I started my medical residency, I cannot forget the scene. My very first day of residency, I was walking through the ER of John Peter Smith Hospital here, the county hospital not too far from where I am. And there was a resident that was ahead of me, a second-year resident. And she was placing a central line. Central line is like an IV in the jugular vein here in the neck of a patient. And I still remember she was covered up, and I was just walking by, and she had a needle literally about 8 inches and just going in the neck. And in my head, I'm like, wow, I can never do that. That takes so much courage. And I was doing it a week later. But what that tells us and what that tells me is a lot of times for courage, you have to just have skill. And you have to have skill. But what courage is, it is acting in spite of risk. Acting in spite of a possibility of failure. A lot of times we don't have courage because we don't have enough skill. But even when you learn the skill, there's still courage needed to do what you need to do. However, sometimes we don't have the skill. And sometimes we are called upon and to go to a level that you've never been before. Growing up, I was a concert pianist growing up. And I played with several symphonies, and I've done different things. And I remember the time before you go on stage. So you're right there on stage. You see the audience, but they can't see you because it's dark where you are. And they call your name, and then everybody starts clapping. And now you're walking into a very bright stage, and your heart is beating. You look into the audience. You don't see them because it's dark, and you just see a lot of clapping. And in that moment, you're taking a risk. You are about to play a performance, and when you're a concert pianist, you can't have your notes in front of you. You have to have it memorized. So you could completely forget it. You can mess up. You can have a number of things happen, but that takes courage. Now, how do you have the courage? Is you have to have enough skill, but you still have to have the courage. So I want to encourage you today, if you're a leader, to step into this idea of saying, can I and will I take a risk in my life? Too many people around me, they are uncomfortable taking any risk, and they are afraid. And I think God created us with a certain risk tolerance, and our journey in life leads us to certain risk tolerance. For me, I grew up in a war zone. I grew up in Beirut, Lebanon. And we didn't have much. Our family was a beautiful family, and it's still a beautiful family. We learned great values, learned how to love God, learned how to work hard, but we didn't have much. And today, you know what? If I make a business decision that I feel like the Lord is leading me there, if I make a partnership, or if I do something and I lose my company, or I lose my companies, or I lose everything, I'm okay. I'm okay taking the risk. I'm not worshiping the blessing, and I'm not worshiping the company or the money or the resources. I am okay living in a small small house. I'm okay with risking what I have, what the Lord has given me, for the chance to move forward. And courage requires that. Elon Musk, you hear him these days all the time on the news, and he said he was worth hundreds of millions, and he put it all on the line to do the next project. He is willing to take these type of risks. So my friend, if you want success, if you want to move forward, if you want to start, if you're not willing to risk things, now try not to risk your life, try not to risk bankruptcy, but sometimes that happens too. My stepdad, who's with the Lord now, he was a Korean War veteran. He had a famous statement. He said, if you don't risk your life, you will lose your life. So my friend, if you want to have success in your life, if you want to start, what is your capacity to have courage? And again, courage is going in spite of risk. If there's no risk, you don't need courage. You just have to do what you got to do. But if there is risk and you get going regardless, that's what we say courage is. And if you want to be a great leader, if you want to be a great entrepreneur, if you want to be great at anything, you have to step out by faith and take some risk. And be okay with risk. Be okay with failure. Be okay with losing it all within reason, if you value stewarding your life and moving forward.